You ever notice how it's easy to start something, but it's almost impossible to keep going? For the first 2 weeks, you're on fire. You're going consistently. You're feeling motivated. You're doing all the things right. And then something happens. Life hits you. You miss one day. You miss another day. And then suddenly it's been 2 weeks since you last trained. There was a time when I actually stopped training completely. My confidence was down because of something that happened. And I just didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like going to the gym. But after a while, I realized something powerful. The reason I stopped going to the gym wasn't because I was tired or lazy. It's because I tied my motivation to how I felt, not to who I wanted to become. So in this video, I want to break down why most people quit. And more importantly, how to be one who doesn't. Because consistency is the difference between people who keep making progress and to the other people who just keep getting started. Most people think they quit because they lack motivation, but that's not the case. The real reason why they quit is because they expect motivation to always be there. Think about it. When you start something new, something fresh, you're excited, you feel motivated, you have that dopamine rush, you start even making small progress. But after a while, that energy fades. That motivation goes away. And that's when most people stop showing up. The truth is, motivation is temporary. Your habits are what keep you moving. That's why one of the biggest mindset shifts I had to employ was that I have to do this regardless of how I feel. It's not about the perfect day or the perfect workout routine or the perfect meal. It's about showing up, even at 70%. And you'll notice something crazy. When you show up on the days that you don't feel like showing up, that's when real discipline is built. So here's the first mindset shift I want you to have. Stop chasing motivation and start building systems. Because once you remove feeling like it from the equation, that's when you can become unstoppable. But to also do that, you have to reframe the way you see failure. Something that most people don't talk about enough is that failure is supposed to happen. You are supposed to fail. But when most people fail, they treat it like a sign to stop. But in reality, that's just feedback. That's your body or the world telling you that this thing that you are doing is not the right method. It's not the right thing. You have to try something different so that you can actually be successful in that thing that you want to do. I've had bad workouts. I've skipped meals. I lost motivation. But none of that meant that I was done. It only meant that I had to change something in what I was doing. I had to change my approach. I had to adjust, not quit. For example, when I first lost motivation to train, it wasn't that now I needed to push myself harder. It was about reflecting on why I started training in the first place. And once I reconnected with that reason to why I started exercising, why I started training, that's when things started to clear up again. Because when you remind yourself of why you started, you bring back your focus to the bigger picture, not to this bad moment that you just had. So if you've been inconsistent lately, don't beat yourself up. Just look back and ask, what triggered it and what caused me to stop? Once you understand those reasons, then you can fix it. Failure isn't a wall, it's a mirror. It shows you what you need to change. Now, here's something that kills more goals than failure ever will. That's boredom. You start doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And after a couple of weeks, it just doesn't feel the same anymore. That's when you start to tell yourself, maybe I can just skip today. But the truth is, growth happens in that boring phase. And that's where the separation happens between the people that actually want it or the people that just have the idea of wanting it. Whenever I get bored, I do the same thing. I remind myself of why I started. And that's usually enough to keep me going, to lift me back up. Because it's not supposed to be fun all the time. It's supposed to challenge you. And boredom is just a test. It tests to see if you truly want it for the long term or if you're just chasing that short-term dopamine rush. So now, let's talk about how to build grit. Because this isn't just about pushing harder. You need a system that keeps you moving even when you don't feel like it. Even when your motivation is dead. So here's what works for me. Step 1 is set a goal and then break it down. If your goal is too big, it feels almost impossible to reach it. So instead of saying, I want to gain 10 kg, break it into smaller steps. Say I want to gain 1 kg in the next month. That way you have direction and you also get small wins along the way. Step 2 is create a system. Look, the thing is, we're all human. We will all have bad days, bad weeks, or even bad months. But what separates you from the rest of the people is how fast you can reset. Whenever I fall off, I sit down and I reflect. What did I do this week? What did I do today that was different from my good days, from my good weeks? That awareness alone allows me to get back on track. Because you don't need a perfect week. You just need one day that's better than the last. And step 3 is focus on the next rep and not the next month. Too many people, and I was also one of them, overthink about the long game and then they don't do anything now. Focus on what's right in front of you. Your next meal, your next rep, your next set. Focus on what's next. Progress isn't about intensity. It's about continuity. Continuing to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. You don't win the game by doing it perfectly. You win the game by staying in it longer than everyone else. And here's the part that changed everything for me. I stopped waiting for confidence. I earned it. When I came back after a bad day or a bad week, I didn't feel confident right away. But every time I started showing up again, it's like I was making small steps to the confidence that I originally had. Because I started building proof. I showed myself that I'm capable of doing this. And proof is what builds belief. Every rep you do, every time you stay consistent, you showing yourself, you proving to yourself that you are capable of achieving your goals. You don't need motivation for that. You just need momentum. Because the truth is, grit isn't built in the gym. It's built in the days where you don't feel like doing it, but you still do it regardless. So if you're going through a rough patch right now and you're thinking of giving up, don't do it. You're not broken. You're just in that phase where most people stop. And that's good news because that shows that you're close to the part where real progress starts. You will become the person you want to be by pushing through the times you want to quit.